What's up, everybody? Welcome back to CyberSecureyou. I'm your host, Valerie Mitchell, right here on OneStream.tv. I've had, listen, y'all, it's been crazy in my world. And we're not even going to really dive into it this week. But it's gotten to that point where I'm like, what day is it? What happened? Especially with the Martin Luther King holiday, that kind of threw me off too. But I am here, PJs and all, okay? Can you believe it? These are like pajamas. And I was just like, whatever, let's just do it, right? And I ran from one meeting to here I am now to do the show. So this week, we have been talking, like the last time we spoke, we talked about bots. And the show was called What the Fuck is a Bot? And I even wanted to call it What the Bot Clot. Like that? What the Bot Clot. Anyway, so, and I'm going to go between those two. But we're going to start off with some news, right, in the cyber world and what's been going on in the news. So what's hitting it? What's hitting us hard this week? Layoffs. So Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and other tech companies have laid off more than 70,000 employees in the last year. And a lot of these cuts are happening like right now. I guess I didn't size that up enough to fit the screen, but nevertheless, that's what it says. So it's like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and other tech companies have laid off more than 70,000, even though it looks like a 6, employees in the last year. And so here's what's been going on, y'all. We can go to the next clip. I think I have a breakdown of the companies. Right, so Microsoft is slated to cut about 10,000 jobs, where actually I read that number's a little higher than that. And then Amazon is doing about 18,000 worldwide, right? Cutting. Some of these companies we may not be familiar with, but here we have another tech giant, Salesforce, cutting 7,000 jobs. Twitter, we already know about. They cut more than 3,700 jobs. Apparently, they cut like 6,000. Lyft. Oh, welcome my co-host, y'all. Welcome to the co-host. Forgot. Sorry. Lyft, 700 jobs. Which, in this bigger scheme of things, I think they're on the low end, but still, 700 jobs, 700 people are going to be without employment. I mean, like, they're not going to have jobs. Shopify, 1,000 job cuts. Netflix, 450. Snap. Do you use Snap, Michael? I don't even know. Snap.
No, I don't.
Okay, because I don't either. And Tesla, way down there at the bottom. Tesla, I got to start pointing the right way. Tesla down here. 6,000 job cuts. Now, here's the story behind all this, y'all, based on what I've been reading in my research. So here we have thousands of job cuts, like actively taking place, right? A lot of them happened this week. And so what these companies are saying is, they're foreseeing a recession. So apparently as we're entering into this recession, they've got to cut back. And what they did, so during the pandemic, they overhired, right? Because these tech companies at that time, you couldn't do anything but hop on the computer and order and get the things that you needed, because you couldn't even go into the grocery store, stuff like that. So during the pandemic, when it was at its high point, these companies hired lots of individuals. They just piled it on. Thousands and thousands of people actually found jobs during that time. So now that the pandemic isn't over, right? We all know that. It's still looming in the air. And I told you guys a few...
Oh, my God.
What, can I talk? What do you mean what? What did I say that you didn't agree with?
Oh, my God, it's just been laughing. We're going on 3 years, and we're still talking about
You
it.
damn right we are, because I just caught COVID, last week? Was it last week or week before last?
2 weeks
Where
ago.
my ass fell out, and I literally passed out, you guys. Passed out. I'm sorry, I know I look crazy as hell, but we gonna get through this show today. Crazy or not. Yeah, I'm just a hot mess. Anyways, and I didn't bring my fan in here and stuff, but anyways. Yeah, so since we have COVID still looming over our head, matter of fact, I went to my post office yesterday, and she's like, well, Valerie, can you come back with a mask? I said, I know she didn't. You know what I mean? Like, is it still mandatory you have to wear a mask? I hate wearing masks, right? So, I just can't breathe properly in it. So, anyways, took my chances and yeah, I caught COVID. After I had got vaccinated. But the bottom line with these tech companies is that they have hired so many individuals. Now we're going to a recession. They're starting to see the pinch, right? They're feeling the pinch. And now they're having to let go of all these people. And it's unfortunate. It's a lot of layoffs happening. It reminds me of when the tech industry came out back. What was that? Was that in 2009, 2006? Was it 2006? Where it was one tech company after the other just actually having, like, they're literally going bankrupt, right? It's reminding me of that era and how that took place back then. So it's not that these companies are not going to be around, unlike we were discussing with Twitter and the uncertainty of, like, whether or not, you know, Elon Musk is going to be able to pull off carrying Twitter like it was before. These companies are still going to be around. They just have to cut back on the amount of funds that they're paying out to people. And maybe they consider it unnecessary, like as far as like certain positions. Well, we really don't need that position, so let's just do away with it. I was also looking to see what other reasons they may have for laying off such a massive amount of individuals. And it's unfortunate because I know, like, in the tech industry, like I've said it before, these people, they're pretty damn cocky. They come with it, like, they're super, like, I'm an engineer, you know, I'm a techie. And, like, they do feel like they're above and beyond the normal person. Yeah, very superior acting. At least that's my thoughts on it. Touching the mic. I have encountered, especially living in the Bay, I could just look at them and you could just see it, that superiority, like, just gleaming off of them because they're like, I'm a techie, I make great money, right? Well, it just goes to show nothing lasts forever, okay? But it's not like they can't find another job, but with the massive amount of people that are being laid off, so many people, like 60,000, 70,000 people all went, they're all scrambling for the same jobs, most likely. And we over here at OneStream.tv, we do not agree with layoffs. You know, we want people to be able to keep their jobs. You know, whether you're snooty or not, we want you to still have your job. But nevertheless, this is what's going on in these streets over here in the cyber world, and it's just sad. I'm looking to see Crypto.com announced plans to lay off about 20,000. Oh, no, 20% of its workforce in January 13th, so that's super recent. The company had 2,400 employees. So, wow, it's going to really downsize that to about like 490 employees were basically laid off with crypto. Let's see what else I'm seeing here.
Well, Amazon, 18,000.
Oh, yeah, Amazon. Well, I mean, it's right there. Amazon, 18,000 job cuts. It says it right there. Oh, yeah, that's a lot. It just goes to show how many employees they actually had in the bigger scheme, if that's like, what, 20% of their job force. It just goes to show how much money they were actually paying out. Let's see here. Salesforce said it will record charges of $1 billion to $1.4 billion related to the headcount reductions. And so
That's how much they're going to save?
Said it will record charges. They're saying charges of $1 billion to $1.4 related to the headcount reduction. So I don't believe that's what will be increased, like their revenue, because it's saying the charges. And $450 million to $650 million related to the office space reduction. So maybe that's what they are saying, but it doesn't read that way. That this is the revenue that they'll be able to keep internally by making these particular job cuts. I don't know. We know that Elon Musk cut about 3,700. So anyways, that's what's been going on in the cyber news. I wanted to at least stress this really quickly because it's like current. This is what's going on now. And so and it's because of them basically hiring so many, especially Amazon. It doesn't surprise me that Amazon is laying off 18,000 because look at the they hired so many people during COVID. Everybody was getting it. I have nephews that have jobs at Amazon. Every time I tell Anna, my ex-husband's nephew, everybody, these young folks around that age, especially the young black ones and the Hispanic males, they're like, Amazon was picking them up quick. Excuse me, no questions asked. So that is what's going on there. So moving on.
Amazon and Facebook, they count for half of the 60,000. That's 29,000 out of the 60,000. Two companies.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot, right?
Well, yeah. But once you take them off the market, then it doesn't look that bad. Just Microsoft.
But any layoff. But I mean, we're talking, even if it's not in the thousands, just like Lyft is laying off 700 people. Let's just say they are primarily cutting that from individuals in the Bay office that they have out there. Not good. That's a nice core group of people that they're letting go of. And so they had the CEOs and what have you send out emails and letting everybody know that this is what was coming ahead. Be prepared. So you're there working, not knowing if you're going to be the one that's going to be chopped, right? So sad. Especially knowing in advance. I've actually been laid off before, and when I was working at United Stations Radio Networks, and it hit me out the blue. They just called me in the office, and I actually closed a huge deal, like two huge deals. Called me in the office, and by surprise, and it was funny because that morning I was trying to get in touch with my supervisor and the program director, and I couldn't reach him. Next minute you know, I'm getting called into the big office and to say that I am being let go. So it's one thing to not know it's coming, and it's another to be like, oh shit, I'm about to get fired. Like it could happen at any minute now. Like you really don't know when it's going to happen, but you know that you could potentially be the one that's getting fired. I guess it gives you more time to prepare, but how much time, right? So, so sad. Moving on. So we're going to be visiting back what the bot clot. What the fuck is a bot? So we've discussed bots before, and not all bots are bad, right? So you have bots that are actually, it lets you know what's going on in the system. It'll help detect traffic. It can detect other bots. Like if you have a bot software that is, what do they call it? But anyways, it monitors, right? So it's monitoring the bots in your system, in your software. And so not all bots are bad, but then you have the bot clots that are not good. And with the bot clot, I love it. I just love saying it. Not what the blood clot, what the bot clot. Right? Okay. Anyway, so here's the thing that as I was doing my research on the bots, and they can inject viruses, they can commit attacks on your software, and they can make the site run slower. Because mind you, again, next slide, these are like individuals programming software to be able to do what they want it to do and not interact with you. So therefore, you think you're talking and chit-chatting with an actual human online when they're like, hello, how can I help you? And you're like, hey, I'm having an issue with da-da-da-da-da. And they're like, oh, okay, well, let me see, give me a second, let me look into your files, whatever. Those are actually bots, right? And I read something today that I found very interesting when it comes to mental health. So what the bot clots are now jumping into the mental health arena. And so you have they gave an example of this lady, right? She owned like a nice little bakery. And so she had her bakery was up and running. And so she was financially secure. She was good. Then she got in a huge accident. and her car got totaled, and she got pretty damaged herself. And so she was bedridden, could not continue to run her business, could not continue to support her family, and she went into a depression. So she could not physically go to her therapist and seek the care that she needed, and it was quite expensive for her to get because the insurance wasn't covering it. So someone recommended, I guess one of her doctors recommended that she goes on and signs on to an app, a mental health app called WISA. There's a few of them, but this is one of them, WISA, W-I-S-A. You can move on to the next one. Is that the one I'm talking about? Kind of jumped ahead. But anyways, I'm going to continue with this. So now she's using a mental health. At first she was resistant. Like, why am I going to sit here and talk? It's like talking to Alexa, you know? Alexa, turn on. Alexa, do this. What's the date, Alexa? Stuff like that. So this is how you're going to be talking to the app, the mental health app. And after much resistance, she actually started to get better. She said she was pleasantly surprised that this app was able to pull her out of her depression, and it used scientific technology, like they used research from scientists to be able to put this software together so that when they ask you like, well, hey, Valerie, how's your day? And I'm like, oh, I feel like shit. Really, what's wrong? And then you talk to them, you unload all the shit that's happened, and they take and they pull keywords from what I said and then come up with a plan for me to better myself. Even breathing techniques, certain workout techniques, activities, you know, like this software is supposedly about to take over that mental health industry because a lot of people can't afford to get the care they need. And apparently these apps are running from like $15 to $30 a week just to be able to speak to someone. So that's not expensive. And what else? The computer, so I mentioned the computer analyzes the words and the phrases, and then the answers delivers like supportive messages and advice for chronic pain, grief, that sort of thing. It's being looked at as a way to help screen and support people who are dealing with isolation, mild depression, and or anxiety. Crazy, right? Yeah. So. You know, we really are, and that's another thing I heard about the layoffs, my research, I forgot, that's what I was going to mention. They are implementing AI. So they really want to get rid of a lot of people so that they can start utilizing this new technology, these bots, right? Aren't they ultimately called bots?
Yeah.
Right, because they're not human, but they're programmed to do what you need it to do. And so, right, AI. So they are implementing the AIs at these tech companies, and that's part of the reason they're laying off so many people. So anyways, back to the mental health.
So the AI is taking over the tech industry now.
Pretty much.
Well, it's like they're taking over the jobs.
Yes, that's what they want. They want to, because even with Uber was doing this shit right when they started. Like they really wanted to get rid of their drive force immediately, and they would have got rid of their asses. But they're not. Their software and technology is not where it needs to be able to drive on the road without a human behind the wheel. So you have to have someone behind the wheel. But Uber was trying to make it where there was no drivers. Like the car just drove itself and picked up people. And we actually did surveys, I remember back then, of how many people would actually get in a car that didn't have a driver behind the wheel. Would you do it, Michael?
Not right now.
But you would, eventually.
Maybe.
I would never. Okay, and you never say never. But nah, you know what? I see how these Teslas drive on the road right now, and I'm like, what the blood clot? Not what the bot clot, but what the blood clot. Because, matter of fact, when I was pulling in here, crossed over the intersection, I was in back of, the Tesla was in front of me, And it like really slowed down as soon as it crossed over the intersection. It was so bizarre. And all I could think is he ain't driving that damn car. The car is driving and he don't know how to control the damn car. And so now here I am trying to get to where I'm going, but I got to stay behind the Tesla. Do I want to kind of cut over and pass it? Not really, because I don't know. The Tesla has a mind of its own. I might try to cut across and then it hit me. So I don't know. You know what I mean? So no, I at this point, like Michael, I would never get in one. At this moment, but I don't think I'd ever get in one. I'm from the old school, you know, get behind the wheel. I need to see a person behind the wheel, not no robot, not the car driving itself, none of that shit. So anyways.
You have to choose between somebody who is inebriated and a little drunk or the hidden tech-free technology of a robot driving. What would you choose?
Well, that's obvious. You're trying to be funny.
No, I'm just...
Who's gonna choose an inebriated, drunk ass person behind the wheel versus totally capable computer software engineered to keep you safe? It's just like these mental health. So people have used the mental health software app. Actually they love it. They like it. They're saying, hey, if I have a problem at 3 a.m, guess what? I can hit up the app and I can talk to Alexis, maybe we'll call her Alexis, and tell her, hey, look, I'm feeling some kind of way. What you got for me? And she'll give you a whole plan and talk you through it and make you feel better.
But
isn't that great?
Like God? Isn't that like trying to be like God? And what to say is that once you get addicted, they don't want to turn and start giving you bad advice.
Oh, now, but that would be based on maybe something you said, because mind you, they're pulling from what you say to come up with a plan. And certain words are paired with treatments. So if the person says this, that means they need this sort of treatment. And scientists have really studied and developed this so that it makes it more across the board. Whereas if you have a group of individuals that are acting like this, it's considered depression, and the computer is able to detect that and then give you the right steps to pull you out of that. Now, they haven't gotten to the point where they can prescribe medication. Would not that be the shit? Now that would be the shit if all of a sudden this bot software called chatbot can actually say, okay, you're gonna need. It seems like your blood pressure is really high. Like you do your blood pressure, you connect it so it does the reading to the computer, and then they say, oh, you got high blood pressure. Go, I'm gonna prescribe you this. I'm gonna call in the prescription and electronic, and you go pick it up from the pharmacy. Because right now they're cutting out the prescriptions, like the paper prescriptions. They're really cutting that out. A lot of the pharmacies make it so that the doctor just calls it in. It's all done electronically. So I could see how this is totally taken over as far as the pharmaceutical end of it. I could see eventually that also where you have bots prescribing you medication and it be valid and shit. Would that not be crazy? Oh, look here, technology is something else, y'all. And the main thing that they point out in this article here is that it overcomes a lot of these common financial barriers, like I mentioned, and logistical barriers to getting the care that we need. So this is an avenue that is seen as that's going to be very prevalent in the next coming years, and people are going to adapt to it. Just like they have adapted to having Alexa in their home and all this stuff. And I told her one time, I said, kiss my ass, Alexa. And she literally had a response for me, like, I'm not going to respond to you, like, watch your language. I was like, holy shit. So I was saying all kinds of shit, like, what's a condom, Alexa? And she'd answer. I said, Alexa, what's your favorite sexual position? She didn't want to answer that question. So,
She doesn't have one.
Some things she'll answer. You don't know.
You
don't know. Oh, Alexa might be get cracking in the back. You don't know what Alexa's doing.
You're putting spirit and
I am.
life into an inanimate artificial intelligence.
Right.
You're giving it a personality.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving it meaning.
I am.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
I think most of us are doing that. I mean, there's a lot of people. I won't say most. because I don't know everybody. But I'm sorry, I had to eat. This cookie's so good. Sorry, y'all. I had to get it in while Michael was talking.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so good. It's looking at me. I'm looking at it. You talking. I'm like, perfect opportunity. We do humanize devices.
There we go.
Right? So
There we go.
you got Alexa sitting in the corner. You're at home. You lonely. You haven't talked to anybody all day. You ain't got shit going on. Whatever.
Turn them off.
And you turn to Alexa and you start having a conversation. Right? Alexa becomes your friend. Creepy, right? Wow. But hey, I see it. I see it. And now we can chit chat to bots for mental health. So, you know what? We don't even have to have a doctor present. And it doesn't have to be documented and follow you throughout your career and your life and everything. You just say, look here, I'm feeling some kind of way. Can you tell me what's going on? And they're like, well, it seems to me like you are depressed. And here are the breathing exercises you need to do. Okay, Valerie. And we'll say your name too. So you're like, oh shoot, I got a new friend. I'm not so lonely anymore. Anyways, that's what homegirl was saying. Like how are you feeling? And she, oh, I'm not feeling so well. Oh, and the app would respond back and say, well, what's bothering you? Okay, that really humanizes it because you're like, oh, it cares. It cares.
We love illusions.
It cares. Oh my God.
We love illusions.
Right. So, anyways, let's see what else I wanted to mention about the bots. There are different types of bots. There's one that I found called the shop bot. I found that interesting, but it monitors your shopping activity online, what sites you go to. It's the one that was in that shopping cart. I thought that was cute. Anyways, I'm all over the place because I actually set this up like, oh, I'm going to talk about this, and I have literally gone out of order. I don't know. I can't even keep up with myself half the time. Anyways, it's called the Shop Bot, and it's a very interesting bot because who'd have thought, I guess we all know this though, because it's like you'll say something, like someone we knew here at the studio, her and I were talking about something the other day, and she goes home and it pops up on her WhatsApp, like a video of what we talked about, right? So obviously, if it's monitoring our daily conversations, our personal conversations, if you have your phone on, sitting right here, it knows and can detect and transfers and hears everything you're saying, right? And you don't even realize it. If it's doing that for conversations, then obviously it's doing that for shopping and our spending habits. So therefore, you go to a site and you look up skis, right? You're thinking about going to Big Bear. You look up the skis and you find out that you want to purchase this particular pair of skis from this company. Next minute you know, you wake up the next morning, all of a sudden you got all kinds of ads from different companies and buy this pair of skis and this, and you're getting articles about different snow summits and stuff like that. I'm getting hot because I don't even have my fan and my co-host, right? So there's something I wanted to mention about the bots because there are different types of bots out there. And they even have like the bot, they call them spider bots and the crawler bots. And they operate they collect and they index and they provide relevant links in responses to the searches that you are seeking and what you're looking for. So basically what I just explained, they said they related to like, going to the library and they have all of the subject matters and the particular books all organized. And so all you have to do is kind of thumb through it. That's kind of what the bots do for the internet and different searches and queries and stuff like that. So they keep it organized so that when the site owner goes back, the site owner can say, okay, so many people did this, so many people did that. They inquired about this. They didn't like that. Maybe they only spent so much time on this particular page, whereas this page, they kind of surfed it and opened up other pages. So bots kind of keep track of all of that. So you have the good ones. They made it to do good things, but then you also, of course, like anything, have the bad apples that come along and use it for criminal activity. So those are some of the various bots that we have going on there. I had a whole list, but I mean, of course, here I am on the air. I can't find the darn list, right? But there's a whole list of the different types of bots, monitoring bots, like I said, the shopping bots, the spider crawling bots right there. What else? There's like quite a few of them. The chat bots, which we spoke about, and some of them are good because they help monitor traffic and help the site owner know what's going on. And then some are bad because they're collecting information from you behind the scenes, and you don't know whether or not you're really dealing with a good bot or a bad bot. Like, you don't know, like, so what the bot Clot? What the bot Clot? Anyways, where did Michael go? Michael! Well, I think I'm towards the end of my show, and I need to close it out. I don't know, he like disappeared and ran into the other room. Oh, I think he had to. Let me see, what time is it? I'm done. I know you did not go in there to eat some food. And the show is over. What the bot Clot is Michael doing? I cannot. Hey, we do it real over here.